AJ Hazzi, how are you? How are you today?
So well. It's good to see you.
No, it's so good to see you, and I'm so excited. I can't explain how excited I am for us to have this time of you just being very open and transparent and wanting to just jump right into it for us to be able to introduce you and get to know you a little bit better. So if you're ready, let's get started.
Let's rock.
I would like to introduce to you a good friend of the Power of Success. He's the owner of the #1 independent real estate firm in the Okanagan. He's an award-winning investor. He's a developer. He's an author. He's a recipient of the Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award, transacted well over $1 billion in real estate, featured on Bloomberg TV, personally endorsed by Shark Tank's Barbara Corcoran and HGTV Scott McGilvery. Put your hands together for the introducer of Mr. Tony Robbins, Mr. AJ Hazzi.
I'm not sure how I feel about having theme music, but I'll take it.
No, let's be honest. You have accomplished so much at this time in your career, in your business, and being able to cross off so much that people just desire to be in your shoes. So if you can, for a second, take us back to where it is that you really started all of this, and for us to just have that opportunity to get to know you better.
Sure. Well, I started in real estate really young. I was 19 years old when I got in the business. In fact, I was the youngest agent in our province at the time. And so it's really all I've ever done. I bought a house when I was 19 and started selling real estate that same year, started investing the following year. So I just took to real estate. I really loved every aspect of it, the investment side of it, and of course the sales and building a business around it. So it just, for me, it was the right business for me. I stumbled into it kind of accidentally because I came back from Australia. I was traveling, just being a surf bum. And I had saved up a bit of money because I was working as a DJ at a nightclub in Byron Bay. And I couldn't spend any money in that town because drinks were free. And I was sleeping until noon, going for a surf. And then I had free dinners at the nightclub. So as a consequence, I saved a bunch of money. And when I came home, I bought a house. And in buying the house, I had a young agent. He was 23, good looking guy wearing a pea coat, driving a BMW. And, it just inspired me to find out a little bit more about what it is that he was doing. And I got my license going very quickly after that.
No, that's awesome. So you backing up, you said that you actually got into this business at age 19. Is that right?
Yeah. Teenage realtor.
Wow, that's incredible. And you being the recipient of a Young Entrepreneur Award, even then, you have so much behind you, and being able to know that from the very beginning, you knew that becoming successful and being able to build this business, you had to invest. Is that right?
For sure. I mean, especially being young, I didn't have really anybody to model myself after. So I just started diving into books and videos and just became like a voracious reader, took courses, and just really invested in myself and trying to, learn from what others had done successfully and trying to implement it.
Mm-hmm. So with you knowing that and all the investment that you have taken, what do you feel like really distinguishes the person that is beginning in real estate and is going to thrive in the market that we have today, which is just cutthroat and continuously evolving, if you would say?
Yeah, I mean, right now, I think being really adaptable and understanding the direction that things are moving from a technology and media perspective is super key. That's a huge advantage to someone that's young. And then just being humble enough to recognize that you don't need to reinvent the wheel. There's proven models out there. There's proven systems that work. Find something that resonates with you and just be a humble implementer of that system, but mindful of the new tech, the new, do it the new school way. But there's success leaves clues.
And I love that you say that success leaves clues, because you definitely have the way that you have built this to be able to get there. So it's like, I'm sure it has not been just flowers and butterflies this whole time. There has to have disappointments, there's failures along the way. So how is it that you channel that? Because I'm sure this year has brought a lot of that on many people, but knowing how to channel it is really how we get ourselves out of it. So how would you say you channel disappointment when you have failure? What does that look like?
Yeah, like I said before, resilience is so important in this business, and you have to be willing to take a punch and get back up. And I've certainly taken my share of knocks. I've had some bad press. I've had some stuff, go public about administrative challenges that I've had, and had things go sideways on me, and took some reputational hits early on in my early 20s. And you have to be able to use that as fuel to get better and to fix the areas that you're weak, and just use it as fuel to propel you to become a better version, a better business person.
Right. And I'm sure at that time that made you also have to pivot a little bit, giving you that challenge to have to make a maneuver, evolve with the time, like you're saying. So, like, what is some of the biggest lessons that you would say that you have learned along the way up into this point?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing that I learned early on is that the current model and the way that real estate's done is kind of broken. It sort of fails all the stakeholders. The consumer doesn't really understand what it is we do for the money we charge. Most real estate agents are failing to make a great living, and most real estate brokers that are managing brokerages are not making a great living either. So really, it kind of fails all the constituents. So I recognized this, and I thought, there may be a better way to do this. And the pivot really was kind of smashing the model apart and rebuilding it a different way.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's go into the talking about rebuilding. So we talk to a dozen agents per week, if not 2 dozens of agents just within our framework of our agency. And a lot of the time it's like trying to figure out what is the next thing that they need to be doing. What should they be focusing on? And a lot of people don't have that roadmap to know exactly what they should be focusing on. So if we could for a second just forget everything at this time, and if you were to say the 3 things that you honestly need to be able to get your business to a place of creating a predictable level of income, what would those 3 things be?
That's a good question. I would say the 3 things you need would be, number 1, leads. You need to get your lead generation happening. It should be as easy as turning up or down the dial of leads. There should be no mystery to that. You need to be able to create a predictable stream of inbound leads. And then next, you need systems and a sales process, which typically in today's day and age, there's some wonderful technology that you can invest in. So that would be investing in the right tech. It doesn't have to be expensive, but having the right tech so that you can, like I say, implement the systems around processing and converting those leads. And then the last one I would say would be media, understanding the power that media has and the power that, being published and getting your content out there. There's probably nothing that's done more for me as an individual agent and now as a business owner than being in print and being on different media, using social media as well. But some of the major media outlets, if you can get your name in lights, that's a huge boost to your business.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so being able to have media, and is that what you would say is the driving point to your business as far as how it has gotten you to where you're at? Would you agree?
What I would say to you is this: the leads and the systems are the anchor and the cornerstone of our business. That's how we've grown and scaled. The media is it's the X factor. It's what takes all of that and puts it, it ramps it up. It gives it that sort of geometric growth afterwards, because it adds credibility. It makes somebody far more willing to sign or to come through a lead contact form or pick up the phone or Google your name, et cetera. So it makes all of your other marketing so much more effective once you've got the media and the credibility behind you as well.
Right, most definitely. And I feel like we preach that all the time. It's all about being on video, having presence, building your marketing perception, and that builds trust and credibility. So a lot of the times we also see agents on the fence about investing. So when you're going into investing, and I like that you mentioned leads, being able to take an investment, what would your biggest advice be when you have that agent that may be on the fence, maybe they're thinking next month, and they continue to try to do other things that may not be allowing them to be decisive to take that next investment in their business? If you can answer, I want to have 2 questions for you. So if you can say, what is the biggest thing to get you off of the fence to making an investment? And then what is the first investment that you should make as a business owner?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've certainly been in that space where I've had that analysis paralysis, or I've been scared to take that next step and make the investment in myself. But when I look back, every time I've done that and made a major investment in our business or into systems or anything, it has paid off in dividends. So it goes back to the old proverb, when's the best time to plant a tree? Right? It's 30 years ago. Next best time is right now. So there's no advantage to waiting. When you see something that you recognize can help your business, and that you recognize that implementation is only going to scale and compound over time, the best time to start that is now. And what would I invest in? If I don't have the right technology and I don't have the right lead generation happening right now, that's my first investment without a doubt. And then the next investment after that is leverage. You've got to get people working with you, and so that you can leverage their talent and leverage the synergistic effect of having multiple people working together. And that would be the next big investment to make.
I love it. So if you could be so transparent with us and tell us, where is your biggest investment in leads? Where exactly does that look like that your team as a whole has seen the most gratification from, and just maybe list a couple of them that you guys do use currently?
Yeah, it's pretty simple stuff. We're not reinventing the wheel. We're using pay-per-click. We spend 10 grand a month roughly on pay-per-click to bring in, thousands of leads. And then we're also using the Facebook platform to target and use retargeting strategies to have people who've been on our website. We've seen what kind of listings they're looking at, and then we retarget listings and listing carousels to them back on Facebook, and try to put the right property in front of the right people. It's really simple stuff, and the right technology can turn the lights on that real quick.
Right. And I love how you'd also ended that saying that it's really simple, because a lot of the time we have people trying to overcomplicate the process. And would you agree, is there ever necessarily a place that you get within your process that you need to just continue to overcomplicate it and continue to say, how can I get it sweeter? Or is it just the basics and doing your follow-up? Is that what it comes down to?
I think if I understand your question, it's, how simple is taking something like that, implementing it, and getting an ROI from it.
Right.
I think it just comes down to starting and then measuring what you're doing and looking for little tweaks along the way that you can use to improve your effectiveness across multiple levers. So, in the lead generation game, you've got the amount of leads that you're generating, so you can turn that up or down. And then the next piece of that puzzle would be the amount of people of those leads that you're actually getting on the phone. And there's things that you can do to increase that. And then once you're on the phone with them, there's tactics and things you can put into place that will increase your effectiveness on the phone, and how many of those people are likely to want to meet with you, which would be the next step. And then from there, you've got how many of those people that you meet are you able to influence sufficiently to sign a buyer's agency agreement or a listing agreement? And again, there's skills you can learn there. And once you've got those agreements signed, how many of those people can you bring through the process safely where they actually purchase a home? And so once you see where all the levers are, you have to find the tactics that are going to help you move the needle in each of those areas. And that's really where it all comes together. It's having a system. It's having something you can train someone else. I think one of the issues a lot of agents have is that they're trying to wing everything. They're kind of by the seat of their pants. They're naturally gifted at sales. I was one of these people. I had an ability to influence people, but there was nothing I could rub off on another agent. When hire another agent, they would try to model themselves after me, and it wouldn't work. It wouldn't be authentic. You need real systems and you need real sales processes. And that's something that you don't need to come up with. There's people that have done it, that have those systems, that are happy to share it with you.
Very true, very true. So sticking to not reinventing the wheel and staying with what works. So being that you've been able to pivot and you've been able to be in business now, you said 18 years at this point, and still so young, which is so inspirational and admirable. So at this time, it's like, what do you feel like was the absolute game changer? Or was there a game changer within all of this time that you have had your career?
This is an easy one for me because there's a pivotal moment in my career where I took a major plunge. I hired a coach back in 2000, I think it was 11, and it was big. It was I think a 35,000. This is that was big money to me at the time. It's 35 grand to hire this coach, and he was helping me figure out my team my structure. And one of the biggest things that I learned through that coaching engagement was that in many cases, me trying to do everything was the problem. And so removing myself from a lot of the things that I was trying to do and not doing them necessarily that effective, because it wasn't my natural gifting to put in systems, to be the person who's in charge of simple systems of accountability, et cetera. So the big move for me was staying in my own lane and actually bringing somebody onto the team who was naturally gifted in that area. And once I had the yin to my yang, that is when things started to grow exponentially. We just had these major growth years because it wasn't just AJ and his salesmanship anymore. It was AJ and Michael and his systems combined with my ability to promote and to, create opportunity. And that was really the rocket fuel. And the book that I read that made me realize that was a book called Rocket Fuel. And if anybody's looking at sort of trying to figure out, okay, I'm the visionary, how do I make this vision come into reality? You got to read that book because it talks about the relationship between the visionary and the integrator. And that was a huge game changer for me.
I love that you mentioned having a coach, and that is the exact same spot that really helped me take flight within my business as well. Just piggybacking off of what you said, having a coach has been the absolute game changer for ourselves and our agency, because we were able to create vision. We were able to see more of a guideline and have a structured way about building what it is that we want. I always feel like investing into people that are where you want to be at is the best way about building your business the most efficient and time-costly way. So now that you're here, you have built this massive business that is just so admirable. What's next for you, AJ? Where would you say you are headed at this point in your career? What is the focus now?
Yeah, right now, because I still get the opportunity to work on my business, is all about just creating opportunity for the people that that have been part of the organization for years. My brother, all my senior agents, everybody, they all are looking to me to see what's next. And so I'm seeing a scaling of Vantage West across Canada in a model that's more in line with what some of the new digital models that are coming out. So less bricks and mortar, taking our lead generation strategies, et cetera, across the country. We've got an iBuying platform that we're scaling called Cash Offer. And so that's all about instant cash offers on homes. Again, I want to take that across Canada. And then for me is the Vantage West Academy. And that's the training and the consulting of real estate agents across North America, and helping them build a scalable business and reach that level of freedom where they can actually step away from their business and work on it rather than in it.
Exactly. And that complements what exactly that we do so much. And I'm so excited for the future of what is in store and looks like, because for us, being able to help agents create opportunities and gain opportunities to now have also presence, the visibility, increasing their marketing perception with what we call social PR. Having that publicity, it's so important across YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Google, like you said. It's the most powerful search engine that there is today, and being able to utilize being on these engines will allow you to create community and authority. So within your structure of now opening up VW Academy, it has excited me so much. I have a lot of agent partners that are so excited and enthused about being able to consult with you here soon, because of you being able to help them not only scale their team, but help new agents create a predictable level of income. So with this, what would you say maybe is one advice? Because I know so many people do want to be where you're at one day, to be in your shoes. So what is that one advice if you were to talk to one person that one day hopes to be where it is that you're at?
Yeah, understanding yourself really well and your natural gifting and what you're great at, and maybe where your weaknesses are, and being quick to humbly admit that and then hire those people to augment you, because no CEO, no visionary is the total package. And so you need to bring people on, and in the short term, that's going to cost you some revenue. It's going to cost you profitability, et cetera. But that's the only way to really get out of the space of trying to be everything, being that sort of hands-on everything. So yeah, I would say the biggest thing is to be humble enough to admit where you're weak, and hire somebody to come in and complement you.
Mm-hmm. No, I love all of this. And I thank you so much for even taking the time for us to be able to have this conversation. You can find AJ at this hashtag BW Academy. This is now on Instagram, also on Facebook. Vantage West Academy is where you'll be able to find him at. AJ, I thank you so much for taking the time to be able to jump on this live with me, be completely transparent, and share a lot of value for it is our following.
Great on. It was lots of fun, and I'm looking forward to learning from you as well in the media space.
Thank you so much. For anybody that did not see an introduction on AJ, we're going to go ahead and end that way. But again, thank you so much. And you and I, there will be a lot more coming. So I'm so excited.
Looking forward to it.
I would like to introduce to you a good friend of the power of success. He's the owner of the #1 independent real estate firm in the Okanagan. He's an award-winning investor. He's a developer. He's an author. He's a recipient of the Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award, transacted well over $1 billion in real estate, featured on Bloomberg TV, personally endorsed by Shark Tank's Barbara Corcoran and HGTV Scott McGilvery. Put your hands together for the introducer of Mr. Tony Robbins, Mr. AJ Hazzi.